What's up everyone and welcome to this video. So as you can see by the title, this video is going to be a small introduction about Excel. Further videos that are about to come on this channel are regarding Excel and the basic things that you can do. Of course, we'll move to the advanced one once we are done with the basics. So a small introduction about me. So I'm a business analyst working at a UK startup. I work with Excel and Power BI. So I started this channel in order to make sure that as I've learned the skills, I thought it would be cool to even share them. So if you're looking for a resource to learn Excel or Power BI, you can follow this channel and the upcoming videos are going to be about them. So first of all, let me keep this video short and tell you a brief introduction about Excel. To get started with, first of all, we need to know why to learn Excel. So you know that Excel has become famous and it is used at most of the places right now. Not just in corporates, but also in personal lives. And since the data is increasing day by day, the skill to analyze the data and make sense out of it is one of the utmost skills that is needed right now in most of the fields, and many organizations or career fields are expecting people to know these basic Excel skills or advanced Excel skills depending upon their role and position. So Excel is used in corporates, and the career fields where it's extensively used are by the analyst or people in the reporting section or people who analyze the data, huge amount of data, people who are taking business decisions. So when you take business decisions, obviously you need to make sure that the data makes sense. Only on the data most of the business decisions are taken by any organizations, even consulting firms, business consulting firms. And of course, we have the finance and accounting. Finance and accounting is basically numbers. You need to make sense of the numbers, where the money is coming in, where it's going out, and all of those stuff. Even though there are a few other spreadsheet tools right now in the market, Excel is still the go-to tool, and most of the organizations still use that. And most of the people in their everyday life also use that. Keep track of their finances, budget, and other things. The reason being it's more friendly to use or people are more comfortable with it. So until and unless any more comfortable tool comes out, Excel is going to stay here for quite some time. So with that, I think I have given you a short description about why you need to learn Excel. Now let me give you a brief history about the Excel and how this software came into place. So again, it's story time. So let's go back a few years. Before that, we just need to understand what Excel is. So Microsoft Excel, it's a spreadsheet software. Now, if you're wondering what a spreadsheet is, it's basically an electronic document in which data is arranged in rows and columns of a grid and can be manipulated and used in calculations. Yeah, I pulled out the definition from the Wikipedia page. But basically, this is a software or a tool where you can enter data and you can use it to calculate and manipulate it and make sense. Now, let's get back to the story of Excel. So surprisingly, Excel was not the first spreadsheet tool. The first spreadsheet tool was called VisiCalc, which was an abbreviation for Visible Calculator. And yes, Microsoft did not make the first spreadsheet tool, and the Visible Calculator was made by two business students from Harvard. And VisiCalc, aka Visible Calculator, was the first spreadsheet computer program for personal computers. And the name of those two Harvard students or the founders are Dan Bricklin and Bob Frankston. And it was originally released for Apple II by VisiCorp on 17th October 1979. It was also famously known as the killer app for the Apple computer. And here are some stats. It sold over 700,000 copies in 6 years and up to 1 million copies during its existence. Now, if you are wondering how did the founders come up with this idea, or what was the necessity, or what was the issue that they were trying to solve when they came up with this idea. So here's what happened. One of the founders, Dan Bricklin, he's a MIT graduate who did his bachelor's in computer science, and then he moved to Harvard to do his MBA. Now, most of you know that while doing an MBA, you need to deal with a lot of case studies and you need to make calculations, run numbers, see if the business decisions or the conclusion that you're coming to make sense through numbers. And when Dan Bricklin was solving the case studies, so he used to write all the numbers on a piece of paper, or when he was in the class, he used to go on the blackboard and just make calculations and write the numbers over there. So in the rows and column format. Now what used to happen was, suppose he made a calculation error. He had to remove the data in one of the rows or the columns, whether it is on the blackboard or on his paper, he had to scribble it and do it again. So he was wondering it would be really easy if you would be able to just edit the data that had been already entered. So he was wondering if there is any software out there or some kind of tool that can do that. And to his surprise, he found there were none. And voila, the idea for the first spreadsheet was born. Now, if you want to get a detailed idea or the detailed story about this, there is a TED Talk by Dan Bricklin that I'll link in the description. You can just have a look at it. And even today, in the same Harvard class that Dan Bricklin, you can find a placard to commemorate this invention in his honor. And here's the picture. So that was a short story about the history of spreadsheet and how it came into existence. Now, after this happened, many other companies saw the success of VisiCalc. They started releasing their own spreadsheet programs. So we had spreadsheet programs like Lotus, Odyssey, and Microsoft had established their ground in the software industry, and they were seeing the success of VisiCalc. So they came up with a plan to make their own spreadsheet program, and hence their first spreadsheet software was released, and that was not named Excel. Yep, the first spreadsheet program by Microsoft was not named Excel. It was named Multiplan, and it was solely created by Microsoft to rival VisiCalc. Now, after trying out few variations of the Multiplan spreadsheet, Microsoft started to improvise it and alter it, and finally in 1985 is when they released their improvised spreadsheet by the name that we all know today as Excel. Now, over the years, Excel has had many different variations or alterations and growth with different UI format and features that are being added on a consecutive basis. And it's evolved to the spreadsheet that we all know today. And FYI, nearly 1 billion users use Microsoft Excel. Yeah, there are nearly 1 billion active Microsoft Excel users today. And data entry, basic calculations, basic operations, these are just the basic things that you can do with Excel. There are a lot more crazy things that you can do with Excel when it comes to data. Also, some of the guys made a freaking music video on Excel. If you're interested, I'll link that too in the description. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is it's not just a basic tool to just enter data and do basic operations. You can do a lot more with this tool or software. Now, with that brief history, let me just walk you through the basic layout of Excel and what are the basic features. And welcome, we opened our favorite software. Now, since this is a basic introduction video and the first video of the channel, I'll just show you the basic things that Excel can do, and I'll just give you a brief introduction about what this tool is capable of doing. Now, by the way, if you have seen this ad that was released somewhere in between 1990s, you can see that if you just had the knowledge to create basic tables, input data, and create basic charts, you were able to save your job, you were able to close a business deal, and even you were able to get a promotion. But fast forward to today, those things don't work anymore. You need to learn even more advanced features and make sure you know how to implement them in your work. So as I said, let's start with the basic operations that Excel is capable of doing. I just made a random table and put in random data, and I'll just show you what these operations are all about. Now, first of all, in the first column, let's calculate the 45% of the basic salary. Now, we have basic salary over here in this column. So if I just open the formula of this cell, you see this J7 cell over here where we have the basic salary, and I'm just multiplying it with 45%. And if I enter, I get the result. Now I'll just remove these cells, the data from this cell, and I'll just calculate the same for all of these values. So if I just drag this, I have the results for even these values. Again, one of the ways Excel can reduce the time of your work. Now in the second column, we are calculating the annual bonus as a 1,000 rupees gift voucher plus a 5% increment of the basic salary. Now the same thing. You just input the formula over here, that is 1,000, added to the 5% of the basic salary, that is J7 we have over here. Again, the same thing. Even if I delete this, and since I already have the data over here, if I just drag this, it will give me the corresponding results of these values. It automatically increments the cell. For example, here you have J7 in the formula bar, and when you go to the next cell, you have J8. So it automatically increments this. And if I go to the third column, that is calculating the gross salary. So again, what we have done is we have just added up all of these three values, these three cells, and we are getting this result. The fourth column that we have contains the tax. So the two things that you can't avoid in life are death and tax. So again, what we have done over here is multiplied value, the total, the gross salary, that is 73,000, multiplied it with 5%. And we are getting this as the tax that we are supposed to pay. Coming to the fifth one, that is calculating net salary. So we have the gross salary and we are deducting the tax, and hence you can see over here we're subtracting the tax that is in the N7 cell from M7 cell, that is over here, that is the gross salary, and we're getting the net salary that will be credited into the bank account. Now again, this was the basic operations. Now let's go to the other things that Excel is able to do. Now over here you can see a random table, and we have the dates, region, the builder, and the units and the revenue. Now over here we are just trying to calculate the corresponding values or the results related to the builder's name. For example, in the cell we have inputted the formula, that is what are the number of units that Doug or Dave is related to. So that's the result that we are getting, and I won't be going deeply into the formula because separate videos will be coming for these particular formulas. In this video, I'm just giving you an overall idea about the things that Excel can do without getting into the details. Now again, over here, when you're trying to calculate the revenue, you're doing the same thing, that is calculating revenue corresponding to Doug, Dave, or Brian. Now if you're trying to complicate this even more, over here we're trying to calculate what is the total units and revenue for each of the builders who are in the central region. So here we are getting data that is related to only the people who are into the central region, that is Doug and Brian. Now going further, Excel can also get you the average of a particular set of values. For example, over here we have this table. We are trying to calculate the average scores of these particular people over here. Now let's take the first person. Now we need the average of all of these values. Now again, what we are doing is we are trying to get the result with another formula, and same thing happens in the next cell also. We are trying to get the average of these particular people with a particular formula. Now this was the basic operations. Now if you go to the next feature, the Excel is capable of doing, that is charts. So if you just have a particular set of values data, and if you're just trying to make sense of it or visually represent it, Excel is capable of doing it. Now it again depends on you what kind of charts you want or how you want to format that. And again, complex formatting, changing the colors, style, titles, and all of that is also possible over here. So again, it depends on you. So this is another feature of Excel. Now then, going to sorting and filtering. For example, over here we are trying to sort this data, this table of data, each segment with each country, which is sorted according to the profit column from low to high. Right. So what we have done is we have sorted the country first, then we have sorted this segment. Now how we have sorted this segment, that is the different departments of a country, are according to the profits that we have. So from the negative profit to the positive ones. So first we are sorting the country, then we are sorting these segments according to the profits. So the lower profit segment of the departments will be on the top and the higher one will be at the bottom. So here you can see first country that is sorted is Canada, then comes France. Even over here, the department that is first sorted is according to the profit, that is the lowest. And the consecutive departments are the ones that are generating higher profit than the previous ones. As you can see over here, France is sorted, then we go to Germany and the other countries. So if you want to just take it to even more advanced level, you are able to add even more parameters, sort according to multiple conditions as per your liking. And here you can see this table is sorted according to the country that is starting just with the letter F. So yeah, only France is sorted over here. Now data for this is again taken from this table. Now coming to the most important function, one of the most important function, that is VLOOKUP. Now this is one of the functions or the features of Excel that is mostly used in the corporates. Now basically how it works is, suppose you have a particular set of data and you are trying to find out a result that is relating to particular column. For example, you are trying to find out the name of the person who has the maximum salary. So what you do is first you try to find the maximum salary over here from the basic salary column. That is 92,000. Now we need the name of that corresponding person who has this maximum salary, and that's where VLOOKUP comes into play. So this is the data that is 92,000, corresponding to which you are trying to find out the result, required result. So here you can see Natasha. There is a formula for this again. That is, you are trying to find the data that is relating to this value, that is the maximum salary value, in this table range, and you need the first name. So the third column. Again, we'll be getting into the details of this function in the later on videos, but again, this is just the overview of what VLOOKUP is capable of. So you just put in the formula and it gives you the corresponding name of the person who is having the maximum salary, that is Natasha. Now similarly for the minimum salary, you enter the function and you get the name of the person who has the minimum salary. Let's just cross check that. So for 22,000, we have the corresponding name as Clark. Now again, leveling this up a little, we'll try to find out who is the person who has the maximum salary in the region of East. So again, the result comes out to be Natasha. And the person who has the minimum salary in the region of East is Nick. Now I'll just change this region to North. So you can see over here, the data changes. Now if I change this to South, again, you see the data changes. Midwest, right? The data changes. So accordingly, if you want to find out the corresponding result of a particular column in a data table, VLOOKUP is what comes to your rescue. Going to the next feature. So again, this is one of the minor features in Excel. Minor features or formula that Excel already has inbuilt that I'm just trying to show you. So for example, we'll just calculate the net working day of a team member. So let's just say we'll take the starting date as this and the ending date as this. So over a 1 month period, what is the net working day of one of our teammates? And since we have Saturday, Sunday as default holidays, and suppose there are even other holidays that are present in the month. So I'll just list them out. These are all the random dates that I'm listing over here. And we are supposing these are all the public holidays that this particular month has. So we have 4 holidays over here, and including these 4 holidays and the Saturday Sundays that are the weekends. So this formula calculates the net working day of a particular member. So you just input the start date, end date, and also the holidays that are present. So again, this is a manner feature that Excel has. One of the manner features that Excel has. Coming to the next usage of VLOOKUP. So we'll just try to compare 2 tables over here and ask Excel to tell us which are the things that are present in this table, the first table, but they are absent in the second one. Now this you can do with the formula or the function that I explained earlier, that is VLOOKUP. Now what I'm doing over here is, if I have the data that is present in the second column, that is present in the second table, I'm just asking Excel to give it as it is. And suppose the data that we have in the first list, if I don't find the data in the second list, what I'm asking Excel to do is, I'm just telling it, fine, if you don't find the data in the second list, you just pop this message as not in list 2. And that's what it is doing. Again, I formatted this column to show this error message in red. Again, one of the features of Excel. So all the values that are present in this list, that is the first list, but we don't have them in the second list, that is getting showed over here. For example, if I just see this value in the first list and try to search it over here in the second one, I'm not able to find that. That's the reason it is showing this message. Coming to the next feature, that is conditional formatting. Now for the sake of this video, I just added all the conditions over here to format this table in the color code that I want. Now what I've done is, in a particular month, if I have a set of values that is below the average value of that month, I've asked Excel to color code it in red. And the values that are above average, I've asked it to color code it in green. So the same thing happens over here. The values that are below average are color coded in red, and the values that are above average are color coded in green. Now you can take it even further by asking it to just color code a particular set of row according to a particular value. That is, for example, let's suppose we just want to highlight the particular row that is respective to a builder's name. For example, let's say we have a builder called Brian, and we want to highlight the rows in the dataset where the builder's name is Brian. So that's what is happening over here, as you can see. Let's say we want to change this and highlight the rows where the name of the builder is Dave. I just select that, and here you can see in the dataset the rows where the builder's name is Dave are getting highlighted. Same thing for the first value. You see the row where the builder's name that we have selected is getting highlighted. So that basically is the quick run through of Excel and all the basic functions. So as I mentioned, it even has some advanced features and functions that I'll be covering up in the next videos. And I hope that this video helped you to get a basic insight or an idea about how Excel works and why it is useful and how the whole story started and why it is one of the important tools in corporates and what are all the job opportunities that you can target once you learn this. And with that, I'll be stopping this video over here. So I'll catch you guys in the next one.